to the market right here on ET Now. And remember, we'll start off in and around that 8600 mark and then we'll pave our way from there. More importantly, a bunch of stocks will be in focus today on the reactions. Reliance Industries, some great auto numbers, NBCC, because of the reports that they'll develop a large parcel of BSNL land worth 15,000 crores. So a bunch of stocks in news. Let's talk about all of those with Mayuresh Joshi, Fund Manager, Angel Broking. He joins us right now on the show. Mayuresh, firstly to you and your team, a very happy new year from all of us at Team ET Now.
Thanks, Neeraj. Happy New Year to you and everyone at ET Now, Nico and Jayesh and the whole team.
Thanks so much, Mayuresh. Now, Mayuresh, what's the sense? We've finished almost 60-65% of the earnings season. Still a few companies left. What has stood out for you in terms of results? There have been 3 holidays, 3 days where we haven't had a where we have had a holiday. A bunch of results have come out as well. Anything that has stood out for you?
No, largely I think as a space, Neeraj, housing finance companies did perform well in this quarter, and again, if the expected cost of funds expected to go down, my own sense is that spreads and NIMs will be maintained for all these companies going forward. With the kind of loan growth that we've seen specifically on the retail side and with asset quality pressures expected to stay benign, companies having seasoned and granular loan books are expected to benefit. At the same time, I think microfinance companies did post a reasonable set of numbers. There again, I think the argument can be that the return ratios can get a little bit subdued with the kind of expansions that most of these companies are going through. But largely again, I think the yield on investments should largely remain stable. Even if it comes down, I think the cost of funds will probably offset the entire scenario. So in that sense itself, I think a few of the microfinance companies did stand out. Auto companies, I think, stood out again. Maruti, I think, exceptional set of numbers in my opinion. Again, the two-wheeler as a pack did exceptionally well. And though one might argue that input costs are probably going up, the entire sense is that operating leverage should start playing on the balance sheets of most of these companies. A few auto anchors probably posted a reasonable set of numbers and expected to do so with robust volume growth expected both on the two-wheeler and the four-wheeler side. Specifically, I think cement had a mixed bag, so I think Ultratech posted a reasonable set of numbers, ACC disappointed, but mid-cap cement again, JK Lakshmi, JK Cement, strong set of numbers in my opinion.
Yeah, indeed. Mayuresh, hi, good morning and a happy new year from me as well. What to your mind could be the monthly auto sales data like, and does it seem like the strong trajectory that we saw last month is going to continue today too?
Morning, Aisha, and happy new year to you as well. So yes, I think if you see the monthly trend, and because festive season was just around the corner, my own sense is that you will see robust numbers coming through at least for the month of October. The larger argument, Aisha, is going to be whether they'll be able to sustain this momentum going forward. And yes, I think all the arguments probably in favor of these auto companies, good monsoons, the 7th pay commission recommendations, but largely I think it's going to be a story on how volume growth unfolds itself consistently over the next few quarters. If the auto companies and the actual demand environment suggests that this volume growth trend can be achieved, the leverage on these balance sheets can be quite strong. So yes, as a pack, as a sector, I think we remain positive on auto and auto ancillaries.
Okay, Mayuresh, what about Hindustan Zinc? You know, the fact that zinc prices have rallied to 5-year highs, plus Vedanta's interest in the company very much visible as well. They're saying that they'll look to get into Hindustan Zinc and buy it out at some point of time. So the government divestment will also come about. Do you think there is more in store for this one?
Again, Neeraj, I think exceptional set of numbers again. If you look at the mine production, both in terms of zinc, lead as well as silver, I think it was much more than what analysts had pegged for this quarter's numbers. Generally, I think if you're seeing zinc prices and the trend thereof, I think the zinc prices have moved up significantly over the past few weeks and quarters, and so has lead. To a large extent, I think the management is very hopeful that the second half will be even better than the first half. So if you go by the mine production data that you've probably seen for the first half, along with realizations both on zinc and lead. Silver has been consistent for Hindustan Zinc over the past few quarters. So my own sense is that if they're able to carry on this performance and with the strong balance sheet that they probably possess, I think the numbers will keep on multiplying in terms of both the EBITDA as well as the EPS for this company. The argument again will be that if zinc prices reverse, with a lot of mines probably coming back in action which have got closed down because of operations not being viable, I think if those start functioning, I think zinc prices might consolidate and correct. But again, I think that's a story that might probably unfold in the next few quarters. So expecting a strong set of numbers to continue for Hindustan Zinc.
Reliance Mayuresh has faced over a $1 billion fine in the KG-D6 gas dispute with ONGC. At a time, in any case, when there were a whole lot of question marks, irrespective of the strong earnings reportage as to how much cash Reliance Jio is going to suck out of the balance sheet. Do you think this is going to be added concern, and maybe the stock could be under pressure in the near term?
It could be, Aisha, and again I think if you look at a large part of their capex, whether you talk about their core capex in terms of refining and petchem that they have embarked upon a few quarters back, as well as the telecom capex, which has been quite substantial on their balance sheet, I think it is going to take a toll, at least for the next few quarters. Secondly, I think as the new capacities start getting commissioned over the next couple of quarters, my own sense is that the operation synergies shall start playing positively on the balance sheet. Third, I think in terms of their core GRMs, I think my own sense is that since you've seen huge amount of volatility happening in cracks, both naphtha, diesel as well as fuel oils, there have been a few production shutdowns in a few countries which has probably fueled the rally in fuel oils. That can probably have a telling effect in terms of how Singapore GRMs move. Reliance GRMs probably not affected as much as fuel oil, so I think the volatility in GRMs might continue. To top that up, I think if this fine probably starts coming through, yes, I think a sentimental dampener for Reliance. But my own sense is that over the next couple of years, as these new capacities start coming on stream and as their businesses become more mature on the retail side, my own sense is that even the telecom part of the business shall start contributing 2 years down the line. So I think it's going to be an operational functioning from Reliance over the next couple of years. If the fine and penalty does come through, yes, it's a sentimental dampener. Stock might probably underperform from a short-term perspective, but from a long-term perspective, my own sense is that these positive synergies will play very positively on their balance sheet.
Okay, we'll also talk about auto numbers a bit in detail, but for now let's get in Yatin to tell us what is expected out of almost all of the key auto majors this month. Numbers will start trickling in, I think, in about an hour and a half time from now. But Yatin, what are you anticipating?
Neeraj, if you look at the month of October, clearly it has been quite good for the auto companies because we had a good festive season dispatch coming in from the wholesale side. So if we talk about the commercial vehicle space first, we are expecting double-digit growth there. Ashok Leyland on the back of a smaller base would report numbers in excess of 10,000 units, 10% growth seen there. As far as Tata Motors is concerned, we are expecting a flattish kind of a growth in the commercial vehicle space, but on an overall basis we should see a 10% kind of a growth coming in for Tata Motors also when it comes to the domestic market business. In the two-wheeler space, again expect good growth for Bajaj Auto, 18% in the domestic market, a 3-4% growth in export is also expected from Bajaj Auto. So this time we are expecting a 13% growth in sales volume from Bajaj Auto. Eicher Motors, again the Royal Enfield sales will see a jump of nearly 31% on a year-on-year basis. Hero MotoCorp, of course the dispatches for the last month have been quite strong, but the retail sales did not happen. So probably this time we are expecting a single-digit growth for Hero MotoCorp, 6% growth seen there. As far as the four-wheeler majors are concerned, Maruti expect a rock-solid number, almost sales coming in at 1.44 lakh units, 7% growth seen there. However, Mahindra and Mahindra automotive segment would disappoint. Some higher base effect will be there for the SUV business. So a 8% decline in sales is expected for Mahindra and Mahindra in the automotive space. However, we could see some good growth in the tractor segment, which is expected to grow at 19% for the month of October. And as far as TVS Motor is concerned, again we are expecting a good growth. Of course, the export will be slightly disappointing, but the overall number should be strong. A 9% growth is anticipated here.
Okay, that's a slice of what to expect from the monthly auto sales numbers and whether or not the October cheer for autos is going to continue. Yatin, thanks much for that data analysis as always. And CK, I want to come to you on the charts. Which auto stock is looking the strongest at this juncture?
Well, undoubtedly it would have to be Maruti, and if you then move away from that, it would be TVS Motor. I think if you take that whole space, then these are the two. I'm talking about the auto majors, not ancillaries. Ancillaries, whole host of them are looking good. But TVS Motor among two-wheelers and Maruti among four-wheelers, these are the ones where the charts are the strongest. And it's quite a contrast, because if you look at other two-wheelers like Hero Motor and Bajaj, they're actually wilting a bit and are kind of giving up their higher levels. Mahindra has been down for a while already and is not really meeting up with fresh interest, even though the prices are down. And Ashok Leyland is staging a rally, so I think the next stock to look at may be Ashok Leyland. But there too, I think prices have moved from about close to 80 rupees to around 90 plus right now. So I don't believe there's too much of bargain hunting left in Ashok Leyland. So as in that entire space, only Maruti may be the thing to look at even now, and perhaps a little bit in TVS. But even there, I think a fair degree of run has happened in TVS.
Okay, let's take in your positional play for the day. Ambuja Cements.
Well, I think cement pack seems to be under some pressure, and in particular if you see ACC and Ambuja have been at the receiving end in recent times. The way the charts are poised, it clearly indicates that some larger player exit, some portfolio exit is going on, which is a bit of a worry, because you're not seeing something similar happen in, let's say, Ultratech or even India Cement, etc. So clearly there seems to be a differentiation here between ACC, Ambuja, which were hitherto the very, very firm leaders in the space. And I think if you look at the way even let's say Century's units have done well in recent results, even there in a weak quarter there has been a pop, and but then I think Ambuja, ACC both are looking a little weak, so I picked Ambuja as a short. I think there is room to decline till about 220, 225, so a multi-day short here in the price range of 240 to 245, stop loss 250.
Right. All right, CK, thanks a lot for that. Now, let's also hear out from Basant Maheshwari and Ramesh Damani on what their Samvat ideas are and where they think disproportionate gains could happen in this year.
I'm leaning towards cybersecurity as a big outlook for the next few years. I think when the Bank of America chairman was recently asked what his budget was for cybersecurity, he said one word: unlimited. So I think that's an area that increasingly is frightening exchanges, banks, regulators, corporates. A lot of capital expenditure is about to take place in that sector. So I think that seems like a promising sector. So I think these high margins, high P's of these stocks will probably be under threat. So the conventional FMCG stocks as we know them, I'm trying to be a bit lighter on them. I think I'm interpreting consumption in different ways. It could be consumption while going to a movie theater, it could be consumption in an airline company, consumption in an oil marketing company. I think those perhaps are better ideas to look at. You know, it's hard if you want to take a point-to-point analysis what it will do. You know, maybe there's some more downside left in technology, so maybe they'll bottom out in 3 months rather than now. I don't know that for sure, but I think the rumors of its death are greatly exaggerated. I think the world is moving to software. It's never a bad time to buy a great business if you get it at a good valuation. So if you find some good businesses in the mid-cap space, I would hold on to them for dear life. You never know which of these mid-cap companies become a large-cap companies.
There's a selective market happening within the overall market. That selective market would do well. The basic market, which was IT stocks or which was the pharma stocks, that seems punctured at the top end. So you've got Sun Pharma, which is losing, you've got Infosys, which is losing. So you know, when you don't expect the rabbits to actually swim when the elephants are getting drowned. One space which I'm really super bullish on, and before you ask me for the 3 names, I can tell you indicatively, of course. One is mortgage finance, 2 is small finance banks, and 3, if you can look at it that way, is the microfinance sector. I've learnt and realized that a stock which falls 20, 30, 40% should make you worry a little more than the stock which goes up 40%. So if a stock falls 40%, I just sit back and I think what's going wrong there. So looking at the other things, I think Maruti and the odd auto players, the large caps, those will do fine. But if you really want to make some money, I think NBFC is the space. Look at the IPO space. Don't just become blind to it. I think over the next 6 to 8 months, there will be a string of companies coming with an IPO, and several of them are fit to create 25-30% CAGR over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So once they come out, we should be looking at them. I don't think the IPO space should be just blown out just by saying it's probably overpriced.
Okay, those are some interesting stock and sector ideas coming in from our experts we chatted with on Diwali Day. But let's also take in some more strategies. And Siddharth, what's on your list?
So Aisha, despite some correction in market from September, we have seen that PSU space have been resilient, though they have not gone up significantly, but they are consolidating. So a lot of PSU names like SBI, PNB, Union are looking attractive. But to give a trade, I think Union Bank is looking good. It can give you a breakout above 150, which can take it to a new zone, maybe then towards 160 or so. So buy Union Bank with a target of 160. Stop loss can be kept at 139. Disclosure: I have a investment position in this stock.
Kunal, what about your idea?
Well, it's a buy on Steel Authority sale. I think on the weekly charts, the stock has confirmed a breakout after almost 1 year of foreign trading in this sort of band. On the short-term charts as well, the momentum indicators have confirmed a breakout on sale. And in fact, the volumes post this very mild sort of uptrend have been increasingly high for the stock. So, which is why I believe that this stock has broken out of a 8 or 9 rupee kind of a channel pattern on the weekly charts, and this should take the stock higher at least to 60-64 odd levels. So I'm looking at a positional trade on sale with a target of 64 and a stop loss at 47.
Okay, so well, those are some technical ideas, and let's recap the earlier ideas given by our experts as well. So CK had a buy call on Dish TV, the target of 104, and a sell on Axis Bank with a stop at 496. These were CK Narayan's ideas.
Siddharth Bhamre, and here's what he's recommending today. He recommends buying into Lupin with a target of 1602. Buy on TechM as well is on his list with a target of 464. Kunal Bothra has got a buy on Keytex with a target of 535. That of course is a high risk idea. A buy on Syntex, again a high risk strategy with a target of 100 intraday, and a buy on sale, which is a low risk strategy with a target of 64. Stop recommended at 47.
Okay, let's continue our conversation with our experts. The other interesting stock, Mayuresh Joshi, is NBCC. Now, forever a company which is getting orders by the dozens, not that bad in execution. I think the management guidance has been for a 25% CAGR for the next 4 or 5 years. Now reports suggest in the Times of India that they might develop the VSNL land too, worth about 15,000 crores. So the order book is not a question. Is it a safe stock to get into after the run-up that we've seen already?
Again, I think the arguments, Neeraj, might be that the stock has run up pretty much too fast. But again, I think the revenue visibility stays intact with the kind of order book that NBCC has, and the order book keeps on burgeoning. Secondly, I think if you look at the order book itself, PMC dominates the order book. So to a certain extent, you're probably assured of certain margins coming through over the next few years. Execution, as you rightly said, I think has not been an issue for NBCC. So if they're able to execute quite well over the next few quarters and years, my own sense is that they'll be able to easily maintain the margins that they've got, and this state trickles down onto the bottom line. So again, I think strong balance sheet, management focused on their key business verticals, and third, I think the order book gives revenue visibility for long-term investors. So investors holding on to a stock like NBCC, as I've always maintained, should continue holding on.
Okay. Now the other one which other stock which is worth discussing is Arvind Mills, and technically at least, because that stock has been on a tear for the right reasons. Deal, private placement in one of their subsidiaries. The enterprise value of Arvind Mills suddenly goes up because of that private placement. In last 1 month, the stock has been a bazooka, absolute bazooka, 24% up. Kunal, is there still money to be made in Arvind? Do you think before blink of an eye the stock would be sitting at 450?
Well, I think 450 could be a marginal target, because you're looking at the longer term charts for Arvind. I think, September 2014 or somewhere, the stock topped out at, closer to 330, 340 levels. From there on, I think from those levels for the last, 2 years, the stock was in a band of 100 odd points on the longer term charts. And now we've seen a breakout of, that band, for Arvind. So this goes to show that it's not a short term trade. Even if you try and add on a technical basic scale that 120, 130 rupees could be a breakout from 350 odd levels. So that probably comes to the first target for the stock. But looking at the last uptrend the stock had been from 2012 to 2014 approximately, I think from there on I think the chart patterns indicate the target for Arvind could be much more higher. So yes, from positional play I think even 450 could be a very short term oriented target, but yes, I think the stock since it's broken out on the weekly as well as on the monthly charts, I think is poised to go higher. Maybe 500, 550 also is extremely high probability for Arvind.
That's the call coming in Arvind. In just the last 1 month, it's risen about almost 23.5%. But Deven Choksi as well joins in on the show. Deven, hi, good morning, and he is wishing you and your entire team at KR Choksi a very happy new year from all of us.
Good morning. Thank you, Aisha. Wish you all a happy new year as well, I think from my side.
Thank you. Deven, what about the market? Does it seem like we're just going to be at best sideways? Lot of global data points expected, and the big one of course being the US presidential election. So I guess the entire globe is going to be, sideways in that sense.
Yeah, sure. I think the market appears to be, going on a sideways. Would remain more careful, circumspect, whatever name we put it across. And I think the participation is unlikely to be picking up, till the point we have the clarity on the election results. Though I think most of the times this kind of results are already played in the markets, I would rather like to wait for more time before which the market would probably see a kind of an up move. As of now, we do believe that nothing is going to go wrong per se beyond a point, but 8500, 8800 kind of a range for Nifty would remain a crucial range. Possibilities are that the market could break above 8800 range eventually, and November month could be a good month for the market in general. So let's hope and see how exactly it happens, but overall remaining a little more positive, though would be careful in picking the stocks in the portfolios.
What will break us out of this range?
Good point. I would think that the battered down stocks largely would be contributing to the process of breaking out, and I would believe that the Reliance kind of company would probably start resuming the uptrend, given the possibilities of higher amount of business coming up due to the completed expansion programs, and in the Q4 remaining relatively more positive than before. So certainly Reliance could be one which could be a choice which investors probably would like to put more money or allocate more money to. On the other side, some of the frontline public sector banks, I believe would find preference in the portfolio. They particularly carry heavy weights too. So certainly that would be another area where we would see some amount of up moves. And couple of Tata Group stocks, there I believe that the buying would take place at the current levels, and maybe if the market gives opportunity at lower levels too, the buying would take place. So certainly they could give the stability stroke upside to the market as far as the index is concerned.
Okay. Even just stay on the pre-open rates, kick-starting. Watch out for a bunch of the result reactions. Watch out for Reliance Industries. Watch out for NBCC. These are a few stocks that should be top of your mind. The markets will start off on a flattish note. I don't think too much of fireworks is anticipated. The Nifty will not have this 68-point uptick. I don't think it will start off anywhere close to 8700. Let these rates stabilize a bit. However, within the index, some unnatural gains. All of these will cool off. But watch out, Adani Ports, Eicher, Grasim are all showing some upticks, which will all probably just cool off a little bit. I want to see though what Reliance Industries is up to. It's a stock in news, and let's see if there is a big reaction. Not quite for now, fairly flattish. I want to see what Hindustan Zinc will be up to and what an NBCC is up to as well. These could be active names. Hindustan Zinc, zinc prices rally. There is active interest from Vedanta in acquiring the remaining stake. Hindustan Zinc could be active. Watch out for NBCC as well. Reports suggest would develop the VSNL land of 15,000 crores, and that's another shot in the arm. Maybe about 1%, 1.5%. But I must say, the first day post the Diwali holidays has started off on a quiet note, as probably would be expected as well. Not too many fireworks, not too many stocks moving around. Axis Bank, the lone ranger on the downside, for now starting off about 0.5% to 1% lower in and around the 480 mark.
Yeah, result disappointment and Axis continues from last week. Some of the other strong numbers though have been from Century Textiles, JM Financial, Mahindra Holidays, GIC Housing, Marico, Bajaj Holdings. These have come out with some strong numbers. You could add to that Nestle as well, Jubilant Industries, and then of course the Spile SKS, Bharat Financial as well, which has come out with some positive earnings this time. Some weak numbers then from Heritage Foods, Inox Wind, Dilip Buildcon, Dish TV, Astra Microwave, etc., and Kitex too, which has come out with some weak numbers, though they are the ones which are seeing some bit of positivity. Kitex though is sharply down 14% as we speak, flat for the index though.
You know, if I look at Kitex, it's turning out to be a story of boom and a bust, and I literally mean that. I mean, at 100 rupees, nobody wanted to buy Kitex. At 1300 rupees, which is a lifetime high for Kitex, where everyone and the uncles there had a buy report on Kitex. From 1100, it has come down to 440, and look at the numbers. I mean, for what a stock which has been endorsed by some of the smartest investors on the street is failing to deliver consistent numbers. It's a great business, it's a good franchise, super management, great client base, fantastic B2B relationships, but when it comes to execution, there is a bit of a challenge. I mean, standalone margins just stand at 34%, but you know, Neeraj, you and me track this one, and this is one stock this one company rather which has disappointed me. I mean, I'm struggling to find what's gone wrong, but the numbers are telling me that there is more than that just meets the eye.
Yeah, it's probably not just about that foreign exchange amount that started off the whole, you know, turmoil for the company, but there is something that is somehow not, and I think in a space when the others are actually clocking in fairly decent performances, this has somehow gone off the board.
You know, one thing I've realized that for any exporter which had it easy in last couple of years because of natural currency tailwind, is now struggling, whether it's IT, whether it's pharma, whether it is garments or whether it is textiles. You mark my words, you know, the kind of margin expansion some of these companies have reported only because of the currency factor, I think that factor now completely is getting nullified. So tailwind has become headwind, and the natural steep acceleration which you got because of drop in commodity prices, and on top of that which was currency, I think that natural advantage is now missing suddenly.
I mean, you know, at a time when you do have names like an Arvind in the same space, why would you even look at a Kitex?
I mean, Kitex promises you a gateway to, I mean, it's an exporter. It's a company which wanted to come out with their own infant brand, brand, and they've got very strong relationships with some of the best brands in the world. So it was more like you betting on that made in India concept.
It was like a page, maybe, you know, in some sort of sense, niche clientele.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exporter which was making garments, a high margin business for some of the best global brands. It's not that they have problem with the relationships, but I guess somewhere the business, the way the entire earnings curve has moved, that is struggling.
And Kitex is actually not showing good signs right now. Down 20%, I can safely say that Kunal's idea is a no-go for the time being. I think he will probably revisit that idea a bit later on as well. But Kitex for now is showing a really deep downtick here. 408 and counting, locked on a lower circuit. The management at some point of time later on in the day will be coming and speaking to us, but this is not a good sign for Kitex Garments. Maybe these rates change a bit. Let's see. 3 more minutes left to the pre-open, but doesn't seem like, I mean, it seems to be a red letter day for Kitex here. Devin, any thoughts here on Kitex Garments?
No, Neeraj, not really. I think haven't been tracking this particular company, so would not be in a position to give comment on the result either.
Mayuresh, do you track Kitex?
No, Neeraj, not tracking this one.
Well, but I think we've got the sum and substance as far as Kitex Garments goes, and we'll get the management a bit later on in the show as well, as I said, to talk more about the numbers and the outlook ahead. What else? There's some traction in Jet Airways in the first few minutes of the pre-open rates. Remember, this is one company that is coming out, and aviation as a space is coming out on the right side for a lot of people. But that aside, it seems to be a slightly quiet day. So let's talk about Reliance Industries, Devin. I'm sure you have a handle out there. The talk is of the fine amount of about $1 billion for the ONGC dispute, KG-D6. How material for the stock, you think?
Well, on the face of it, I think it will have its own negative impact onto the stock. Market has already taken the I think the view out of this particular event, which is likely to play out. So to an extent, I think the market has corrected also, I think, after the results. I'm not too sure, I think, how much further I think it can go down to, but I'm certain about it that I think whatever the penalty issues are, I think will have to be dealt with. So whichever way we want to look at it, I think there is an overhang on this particular situation. Maybe once the situation is played out, you might see, I think, the support buying or follow-up buying taking place at lower levels.
Okay, let's go across to Poonam, get in some brokerage opinion as well this Tuesday morning, and let's talk about what the Macquarie view is on iShares, Poonam.
Well, good morning, Aisha. In fact, a very strong performance coming in from iShares Motors, and in fact, that's the reason why Macquarie has raised the target price to as high as 28,500 on the stock. In fact, we're seeing very strong performance coming in from the RE as well as we're seeing good amount of margin expansion. EBITDA also has been 3% ahead of the estimates on the RE front. Besides that, again, the order intake for RE continues to be ahead of supplies despite a 31% growth in production, and not just that, RE has maintained production guidance at 675,000 units for FY17E. Having said that, the other part of the business, which is the CV business, that did report some amount of mixed performance. The operating margins did decline slightly, although there has been significant improvement in terms of the market share. Having said that, even Macquarie does see the earnings estimates to be growing as high as 29% over the next 3 years, and hence the target price has been raised on iShares Motors to 28,500. Watch out for this stock.
Okay, iShares and another 300 rupees of for iShares. I mean, iShares is more like a cult stock, trust me. We can talk about valuations, we can talk about an extraordinary run-up, but you know, every cycle of a bull market throws some outsized gainers. And iShares Motor is one of them, Shree Cement is another one, Page Industries is another one. So iShares Motor continues to surprise us. The growth has been so extraordinary that markets have, investors have no choice but to just stay put there. And Devin, what does one do with a stock like iShares Motor? Every time you make up your mind that, look, this is a great category to buy, every time you make up your mind that this is an expensive stock to sell, I mean, the company keeps on delivering.
Well, yes, I think they have the strong areas of operations both on the two-wheeler side as well as I think the commercial vehicle segment. Commercial vehicle segment per se, I think, is showing good signs of growth now. So certainly, I think, would like to believe that I think going forward with the new range of vehicles which have come up, and I think the kind of demand offtake that we are seeing, particularly from MCV, HCV segment, I would think that the commercial vehicle space as a whole is going to benefit this company more than before. They have been enjoying a decent set of margins, I think, in the two-wheeler space, the bullet vehicles, bike space, where I think they have been enjoying, I think, decent set of margins. Commercial vehicle, to an extent, I think, have been dragging these margins down. I would think that I think with the improvement in the conditions in the business, these margins could possibly even look up. So certainly, I think the company holds a good amount of growth potential from here onwards. Given the expanded capacity, I would think that I think they should be having ultimate advantage too. Whether expensive valuation to buy or not, I would not know. I may think that I think such companies where you have got a larger amount of growth potential, maybe I think valuations may remain expensive. How you define expensive, I am not too totally convinced at this point of time, but if the market gives an opportunity during the corrective downside, probably I think one could consider adding companies like iShares into the portfolio for long-term investments.
Okay, just before we start the market open, and then we'll get in some investment thoughts from both Devin Choksi and Mayuresh Joshi as well, but 4 minutes left, and just quickly looking at how the pre-open rates have settled. Unichem Labs has a good uptick, HCL Info has a good uptick, Jet Airways sparkling move, 4% higher for that one. And on the flip side, NIIT Tech is the one which is disappointed, down about 5% in trade. Needless to say, Kitex Garments remains a stock in focus. The management will speak to us at 11 a.m. So that's an interview you can't afford to miss. The stock is likely to start off in higher double digits on the downside, 18% lower, so not a good day for that one. However, coming on these stocks, Kunal Bothra, very quickly, two names, HCL Info and Jet Airways.
I think Jet Airways seems to be showing some sort of a short-term bottom over here. So whether it probably develops into a longer-term uptrend or not, I think is something to be waited for, because I think the longer-term charts for Jet Airways are still in a bit of a range, or maybe a slight range towards the downward bias. But for HCL Info Systems, I think this is a good start, because the volumes for the stock in the last one and a half odd month have improved significantly. Now the longer-term resistance trend line, which was closer to 54 and a half, I think that's also probably broken, and we've now seen a confirmation of a monthly breakout as well for HCL Info Systems. So maybe the stock requires a bit more momentum to probably catch up before it tries to show start of a decent uptrend. But yes, I think the bias should be long for HCL Info Systems as well as for Jet Airways as of now.
Okay, let me just recap then the trading ideas coming in this morning. And CK's got a buy in Dish TV with a target of 104, a sell on Axis Bank with a target of 479. Siddharth Bhamre, buy on Lupin with a target of 1602, a buy on TechM, target 464. Kunal Bothra recommends buying into Kitex with a target of 535, stop 502, and a buy on Syntex with a target of 100, as well as a buy on sale with a target of 64.
Okay, let's try and nail it down to that one top trading idea for the day today. And CK, what is it from your end?
A short on Axis Bank, 487 to 490 price range, stop loss 496, target and a target of about 477 to 480.
A bit of a consensus out here. I think Siddharth also is negative here. But Siddharth, what is your top call for the morning?
Yeah, Axis Bank, I'm negative positional perspective. But for today, top call would be Lupin, target 1602, stop loss 1474.
I call on Lupin. It had a very active Diwali trading session. And then Kunal, your top call for the morning.
It would be a buy on Syntex with a position target of 100, stop loss 85, and I would probably want to reiterate what you said, Niraj. I think Kitex is a no-go. I was not aware of the results, etc. But yes, I think Kitex is a no-go as of now. Syntex remains to be the top bet for the day today.
Minute 24 to go. We could be in for a very ordinary start. That's what SGX and global markets are clearly indicating. I mean, that is really one of the factors which could have influence on the trade today, that SGX is not going anywhere. Well, then you've got some important and interesting strong numbers, and companies which have come out with strong numbers. I'll just read out the big ones: Century Textiles, GM Financials, and then Mahindra Holidays. Where numbers have been weak and where numbers they continue to haunt us, one is Vaibhav Global. A lot of marquee investors have bought into Vaibhav Global. They're getting it wrong. Kitex quarter on quarter, again and again, they are just not delivering. 1100, 1200 rupee stock has now become a 400 rupee stock. And then you've got a poor set of numbers which again have come from Inox Wind. So much so about wind power, renewable power, new sources of power, but the delivery is just not there. Markets, meantime, there are phases where markets, where trading is not very lucrative. I guess we are currently going through that phase. We may like it, we may not like it, but right now, both locally and globally, everything is centered around this binary of the US presidential election outcome. And a lot of market men feel that that event outcome is going to be binary in nature. Trust me, a month from now, when we look back and analyze the outcome irrespective of what the outcome will be, we will laugh over it. But when these big turning points are there, markets, they tend to really focus on that. Okay, first rates, and to me these are the right rates. I would not like to take Sunday's rate into consideration, because today is the real market for me. 86.35, 86.33 now for the Nifty. And for the Sensex also, it has to be a weak start, and I expect more selling after that. The small cap indices, the mid cap indices, they are not off to anything extraordinary. And if I just scan through the top traded counter on both the exchanges, let me just very quickly scan through actually Kitex, because yeah, that's what's fallen. It has fallen, and it has fallen, I mean, how? 16% off for Kitex, poor set of numbers. The message is very simple. In this market, if you don't deliver, trust me, there's going to be no scope for you to hide. I'm just going to pick up the top volume traded counters, at least on National Stock Exchange. Titan, 0.5% off. Dish TV, flat. RBL, 400 rupees for RBL. Jet Airways up by about 2%. And there is a big volume built up which is there in Ujjas Energy. I'm not sure why, but 3.5% up for that one. Ashok Leyland ahead of numbers is at 92, and then you got ICICI Bank, which is at 279 now.
Yeah, Ujjas Energy I think is reacting to its earnings, if I'm not mistaken. That stock will just come with you on your screens. Some other strong numbers then from Century Textiles. You've got a JM Financial as well, Mahindra Holidays, JSC Housing Finance, Marico, Bajaj Holdings, Atlas Cycles, Nestle, Jubilant Industries, and then of course Bharat Financial as well. These have all been very strong earnings performance or reportage thereof. Some weak numbers then from Vaibhav Global. You've got a Heritage Foods, an Inox Wing, HCL Info, Dilip Buildcon, Dish TV, Astra Microwave, Vinity Organics, Kitex Garments, and Sundaram Finance as well, like we just pointed out. That as well is getting extremely weak. Some other stocks, or rather news I should say, which is in focus, and a couple of stocks could very well be in focus. Just want to bring up what Reliance Industries is up to, considering it's been slapped a fine of $1 billion with regards to its spat over the KG Recent gas in with ONGC. So Reliance starts off just about very quietish at 1051 thereabouts. NBCC, Nikunj has been highlighting this reason for this stock to chair, and about multi-crore project is what they are bagging to redevelop the NS or rather VSNL land. So this is a sizable one, and BCC is the other one which is in focus. And then of course the Z Group names as well. They're set to take control of BSNL. They may announce, make this announcement later this week. So the BSNL or rather RBNL's radio business is going to be under Z Media. The Big Magic, Big Ganga to fall off under Z Entertainment. So look out for some of these Z Group names. They are going to be active, and they sure are. While Z Entertainment may be not, the other one of course is holding out very smartly. There you go. Z Media Corp currently up by about almost 1.6%.
Caplin Point, 7% higher, good volumes as well. You heard the management on ET Now speak about the US FDA observations. Minor observations will get cleared. So while typically US FDA is not great news these days, the fact that the observations are negative or are not too negative and minor ones augur well for the stock, up 7.5%. The management was however not able to give us any kind of numbers. Having said that, the stock is reacting well. Kitex of course top of the mind when it comes to moves. That aside, lastly I just want to see what strides Arco Lab is up to after having a fabulous Friday session. I think the commentary was very positive as well, the takeaways. However, maybe the rally was too much too soon in Friday's trade, and therefore some bit of profit booking coming in today's session. That's probably the only thing I can make out of it. Last but not the least, ITI is up on fairly decent volumes. Watch out for that one, 6% higher at 32. So this one is doing okay. Typically ITI and HMT tend to move in tandem. For now it's just ITI, 6.5% higher for that one. I don't know if that has got some land bank as well.
See, there are two names which are worth mentioning, and one, if NBCC is developing the VSNL land bank, who is the original owner of VSNL now? It is Tata Communication. That's one stock which is likely to react. Again, there is some land which is there with the government, there is some land with Tata Communication, so there is going to be some cross land, and there would be some cross benefit which will automatically come to Tata Communication. A lot of land of BSNL now lies with Tata Communication. So let's see how Tata Communication is reacting. And second has to be Reliance Capital. So whereas we are talking about the RBNL deal, who actually owns RBNL? Yeah. It is Reliance Capital and the subsidiaries of Reliance Capital. So again, Reliance Capital is expected to go higher. And you think about Reliance Capital, what have they managed to do? They've sold stake in their AMC business. They've sold stake in their insurance business. They are looking at bringing out or listing the housing business separately. So when it comes to the ADA group, I mean, they are really trying to get rid of all the non-core assets, trying to reduce the debt in all the key companies. But Reliance Capital is where I think bulk of action already is visible, whether it's the AMC business or whether it's the insurance business or the housing subsidiary, and now some of their smaller non-core investments. So if I talk about in positioning, both based on enterprise value and based on the sum of part numbers, I mean, this is one interesting stock which has potential to outperform at a time when other NBFCs are just going gangbusters.
Okay, that's the word coming in Reliance Gap. Within the futures and options universe, it is Jet Airways and Tata Com, which are the highest winners. So about almost a 3% rally coming in there. Bharti Infratel as well as holding out, and you've got Hindalco and HCC, or rather HDFC, I beg your pardon. They're all looking extremely strong. On the flip side, it's about ONGC, Titan, Strides Arcolab, Dish and ACC, which are your laggards as we speak. But CK, what's been your first take on trade? Extremely lackluster. It's played on expected lines so far. CK, my question was to you on the index.
Yeah, sorry about that, didn't catch it earlier. Yeah, the index has been moving along expected lines, nothing sensational. About 0.2% up, so I suppose we are going to see this sort of movement persist. I really wouldn't look at the index as a trading play, because I think around 8660, 8670 on the futures, which is, let's say, what, some 15-20 points from here, it would start running into resistances, and therefore buying is certainly not warranted. From the morning we don't see any selling action, no big names which are down significantly, so we may not really go down very much. So index trading seems to be a no-no at the moment.
Okay, Mayuresh, just before we thank you, and then Deven, before we thank you as well, the same question likely to both of you. Leave us with a Diwali or a New Year gift for our viewers, Mayuresh. That top idea that you would recommend.
Well, as I said, Neeraj, I think remain extremely optimistic on auto ancillary space. Within the space itself, the battery manufacturers like Exide and Amara Raja batteries is something that we continue to prefer. Amara Raja more so because of the kind of gains that it has done, both in terms of market share as well as the earnings profile compared to an Exide. So the last 6 years, it has actually grown at a rate of 20-21% compared to 7-8% for Exide. What this has actually done is that it has helped Amara gain market share both in the OEM side of the business as well as the replacement side of the business. If you talk about the industrial part of the business, Amara Raja already has a market share gain of around 60% in the telecom vertical, as it caters to a lot of clients and has leadership position there. Again, if you look at lead prices generally, I think you'll see the momentum going up. But as demand comes back, and the last 2 years was very benign, both on the two-wheeler, the four-wheeler side, as the volume catch-up starts happening, and with the OEM manufacturers opting out for multi-vendors, valve acid manufacturers like Amara should benefit in a substantial manner. So in the financials itself, my own sense is that an 18-19% top line growth is not ruled out. The bottom line growth should be equally stupendous. When it comes to the EPS, my own sense is a 25% growth over the next 2 years. And ROEs have been exceedingly consistent at 25% with strong free cash flow generation. So largely, I think Amara Raja remains one of my preferred picks, but in a staggered manner over the next few weeks and hold on for at least 12 to 15 months.
Right, Mayuresh, appreciate your time and thank you for joining us, and wish you a very happy new year, going forward. Deven, let me get some closing comments from you. Give me one idea, valid, let's say, for 1 year, where you think the upside could be about 20 to 25%.
Yeah, Nikunj, we've been, I think, putting our strong recommendation on this company, which is UPL. Agri space has come out with a result, I think, which has slightly been weaker, but I think generally, I think on a quarterly basis,